So you're working at this Boston Comedy Club, and then I guess the owner sets up a showcase for you and Will Smith's company.
Yep. So I was at the time. I was working the door, and I was just letting anyone that went to NYU come in, and so everyone's underage drinking. And so I have this like huge following of college kids that basically can drink for cheap and don't get ID'd. And I go up at the end of the night, and they love me. And so Time Out New York writes an article about me because of this. And then Will Smith's people, David Tochterman specifically, saw the article, and Barry Katz called me up, and he's like, they want to see you do stand-up. And so I went, and I did like 7 minutes, and I just had a dream set. I had one of those dream sets that you get. You probably get 10 of them out of your life, and the next day they offered me a development deal. I take that back. They said they offered me a development deal, and they said it's contingent upon meeting Will and Will liking you.
Okay, so you met Will.
Met Will at I want to say the Hit Factory. I want to remember. Say that's the name on the Upper West Side. Mm-hmm. He was doing Millennium, and I go in. I remember I brought a camera. My manager's like, "Don't bring a camera. Don't bring a camera. If you want to be his peer, you don't ask to take a picture with him." And I was like, "Okay." So I have no pictures of me and Will ever. Go in. They sit 2 chairs in the middle of a dance studio, facing 2 folding chairs in the middle of a dance studio, facing each other, and they're like, "We'll be in a second." I sat with the chair with my back to the door. I didn't know what door he was coming in, and he walked in behind me, and I could feel his energy. I mean, sincerely, like, you know when you say like, "Oh, that guy's got it," the it factor, he's got it, and he's got it all over him. He walks in, gives me a hug. All I remember him saying is "one love." At the time, I don't know if he still says it, but he's saying that to everyone. "One love, one love." Gives me a hug, says "one love," and I was off to the fucking races. I was like, I need this guy to like me, and I love this dude, and I love hip hop, and I am a big hip hop guy. So I just went, and then I was like, and even if he doesn't like me, I'm gonna find out all the questions of the shit I really want to know. So I like went through. I asked him what he thought about at the time Cash Money was blowing up. I asked him what he thought about Juvenile, what he thought about Wayne. Like I went through everything. I want to know what he thought about Outkast. I want to know what he thought about, because I just come upon the fact that like hip hop was made for the place that you listen to it. So New York, it's all headsets. Miami, it's all bass. Like, and I was like, I was off to the races, and he liked me. He liked me. He was like, "Let's go see a movie." I was like, "Okay."
You guys went to a movie.
I called my dad, and I was like, I got in the car. My dad goes, "How'd it go?" I go, "It went great." He was like, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, we're going to the movies." My dad's like, "What?" I go, "We're going to the movies." And he was like, "Want a date?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "I don't know. I really didn't ask. Like, I was just needing." And he was like, "What do you mean? Like, what? You and him are going to the movies together?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess." And I was like, "It's at Planet Hollywood." And he was like, "They have a movie theater there?" I was like, "Dad, I don't know. Maybe we'll go get lunch there and dinner, and then we'll go to the movies." And he was like, "Oh, buddy, he's trying to fuck you." I was like, I go, "What?" And he goes, "Listen, this is very popular in Hollywood. These guys have had so much pussy, they get tired of it. And so they're trying to turn out young boys. That's the only thing that really excites them is watching the look in your eyes when you have to suck your first dick." And I was like, "Are you being serious?" He goes, "No, I mean, I've heard about it. I'm not sure that's what this is. I just want to warn you. Look, you're my only son. I don't want you to go in there unprepared and end up sucking this guy's dick. I'm just saying." And I was like, "Okay." So I go, "What do I do?" And he goes, "Show up." He goes, He was like, "I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just letting you know. You don't want to go in not knowing something." So I showed up. And I went to Planet Hollywood up by like 56th, up in that area, near Columbus Circle. And I walked in the front lady, and I was like, "Is Will Smith here?" She was like, "Yeah, in the back." And I was like, "Oh. So funny. I didn't think he'd be like eating dinner with everyone." And I start walking through. She sent me like a mannequin of Will Smith. I go, No. The actual Will Smith. And the look on her face was like I said, I break off dolphins' beaks. She was like, "Huh?" I said, "I'm here for Will Smith, the person." She was like, "Hey man, celebrities don't hang out at Planet Hollywood." And I was like, am I getting punked? At least in my head, I'm like, at least I'm not fucking anybody, right? So I go, "Is it cool if I wait?" And she was like, "Yeah, you can wait all you want." And so I sat in the lobby of Planet Hollywood, like in a little waiting room, for like 10 minutes maybe. And then all of a sudden this door behind me opens up, and this 6'5", 350-pound black dude named Charlie Mack sticks his head out, and he's like, "You Bert?" I was like, yeah. And he goes, downstairs. So I'm like, oh, shit. So I follow. I'm thinking, I got to fuck this guy, too. This is going to be a long fucking night. Jesus Christ. So I get downstairs, and it's 10 black dudes, all in a small room, probably the same size as this, with curtains all around it, and a folding table in the center. And I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, my God, I'm going to fuck these 10 black dudes, Will, Charlie Mack. I know he's bringing Jazzy Jeff. That's 13 black. I'm fucking a lot of dudes tonight. Like in my head, I'm like, if this is a scenario, I am screwed. And I just sit with my back against the curtain, and I don't make eye contact, and I just kind of like no one's talking to me. They're talking to each other, and I'm just waiting. And then Will Smith shows up with Jazzy Jeff. I swear to God, with Jazzy Jeff, with the fucking glass. It's Jazzy Jeff from the fucking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right?
Right.
Comes in and he's like, hey, this is Bert. And everyone's like, oh, he's like, this is the guy I was telling you about. And they're like, oh, okay. And they all start walking. I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm sucking dicks first. And then the curtains behind me open, and there's a private movie theater. And Will's like, grab us 2 seats. What do you want to drink? And I was like, what are you getting? He's like, Long Island iced tea. And I was like, I'll take one too. He's like, you like shrimp? I was like, I love shrimp. He's like, okay. And he's like, get us a bunch of shrimp and a couple Long Island iced teas. He was like, have you seen American Pie yet? I said, no. And he goes, that's what we're watching. And I was like, oh, okay. And in my head, I'm like, this turned really fun. Like, so we sat and watched American Pie, and I didn't know, I was uncomfortable because I didn't know if he was judging my sense of humor. Because I was wondering if he was like, this is a white guy comedy, like white boy comedy. I want to see what he finds funny, what I find funny, or I didn't know if that was like a test. Mm-hmm. So I was a little on edge a little bit, and then I get drunk, and he goes, he's like, so what did you think? I was like, it was great. And he was like, no, about the guys. I was like, I didn't fuck him? What do you want? What do you want from me? And he was like, no. You said you're a hip hop fan. He's like, this Kool Moe Dee, this Biz Markie. I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like, I could have fucked Kool Moe Dee? Like, I'm literally like, oh my God. And then I end up meeting him, and then seeing him, like, I saw him, he was on my TV show. I got a TV show right after this, and he was on my TV show, and I was like, yo, Mo. And he was like, oh, what's up? I said, we watched a movie together. And he was like, oh, yeah. And then, you know, in true form, is where the story I'd tell you ends. But the truth of the story is, Will's like, what do you want to watch tomorrow? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, all right, we'll do a movie tomorrow night, guys, right? And everyone's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, tomorrow will be the time that I like get to know these guys. And then I can be like friends with my heroes. And I didn't show up.
You didn't show up?
I didn't show up. I got nervous. I didn't know if I was really invited. I didn't know if like he was saying that to them. And then, like, you know when you overthink something? And I didn't show up. And then Will kept saying, I remember we ended up working together for a year, and he was like, and you stood me up. Can you believe you stood me up? No one, who stands up? I mean, you stood me up. And I was like, I always wanted to tell him, like, I'm so sorry. By the way, there's another story, just like the Tracy Morgan story, where I know if Will hears this, he's going to be like, fuck that guy, right? I'm not gay. I didn't want to fuck you in the ass. I was trying to be nice, and you turned it into something horrible. But that's the way, I don't know, man. Whatever.